YouTube, it's your girl Miss T, and today I will be reviewing the film Waves. This film shows us how the waves in our life can keep us afloat or they can take us under. Let's talk about it. Waves is directed by Trey Edward Shultz. Some of his films include Krisha and It Comes at Night, neither of which I have seen, but I heard they're pretty good. This film has a pretty solid cast. It stars Sterling K. Brown. Y'all know him from This Is Us and Black Panther. So if nothing else, go see Sterling K. Brown because he looked really good. Really good. Really good. It was a whole lot of chocolatey goodness on the screen, and I didn't know he was packing like that. Just the rips and the cuts and anyway. It also stars Kelvin Jr., who was also in It Comes at Night. He was in Birth of a Nation as well. I didn't know who he was at the time, so I might have to, run that back, watch it again. And he's also been in series like Chicago PD and Godfather of Harlem. We also have Taylor Russell. You've seen her in Escape Room and a few other movies. She's pretty solid as well. So in summary, Waves is set against the vibrant landscape of South Florida, I think Miami to be exact. And it traces the epic emotional journey of a suburban family as they navigate love, forgiveness, and coming together in the aftermath of a loss. Sterling K. Brown plays the father in this film. Ron Williams, the son, is played by Kelvin Jr. Tyler Williams. Taylor Russell plays Emily Williams, and Renee Elise Goldsberry plays the mother, Catherine Williams. The first half of this film is like being on an emotional roller coaster. It follows the Williams family, and on the surface, this family has it going on. They're rich, have a beautiful home, superstar athlete son. He's popular, he's attractive, he's smart. He plays the piano. I mean, on the surface, they got it going on. They in church every Sunday and they have family dinners together. Like, they own their own business. On the surface, they got it going on. I wanted to be a part of this family as a child. But when we start to slowly peel back those layers, as in most families, we see that things aren't exactly what they seem. In this film, we get to see how striving for greatness and trying to maintain greatness and success can cause so much anxiety to the point where it's almost self-destructive. The father in this film pushes his son so hard that he feels any type of failure, even if it's out of his control, is unacceptable. So Ron was instilling in his son that as a black man, there is no time for F-ups. Period. You got to push through, no matter how hard it may hurt, how hard it gets. By any means necessary, you got to be the best. It's too much pressure for a child. Hell, it's too much pressure for an adult. Okay? Sterling K. Brown, I've never seen him in this type of role where he kind of plays the bad guy. He does an excellent job of showing that toxic masculinity that some men have, and couple that with the fact that this family is African American. Sometimes I feel like black men, they can't win for losing. It's like they kind of get beat up on if they're absent, and then when they are in the children's life, they're hard on them. They push them so hard. It's like they almost push them away. Ron had good intentions. He just needed a better way to bring them into fruition. He was going about it all wrong. Ronald Williams is very competitive. You can tell that he wants the best, and that he has worked very hard to get to where he is. And he constantly reminds his son of how he wished he would have had the childhood that his son has. I mean, there's a scene where they're like arm wrestling in the diner, and like his dad was kind of like getting off. He was getting off of the fact that he was beating his son. It's very unhealthy, and it almost seems that he wants to prove that he is better than his son because his son has been afforded all of these privileges and opportunities that he wasn't afforded as a child. It's really dysfunctional. But on the same note, he pushes his son for greatness, not for his own personal achievements, but more so because it's a reflection on him. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a child. Whenever Tyler does something remotely out of order, he has this look of disapproval that can just crush your soul. It's not really loving. It's like a sick manipulation. And later in the movie, we find out that Tyler kind of hated his father, which is interesting because he was a present father, he was a provider, he was a protector, but he wasn't necessarily loving. This film was originally made about a white family, and some people may disagree with me on this, but I think it was a good choice to make this family African American because we have so much more pressure on us to be great because we know we have to work 10 times harder to get half as much. So I think, you want your kids to do good, but in the African American home, I think we are pushed a little bit harder. For me, it was more understandable and relatable to see how Kelvin's character, Tyler, unraveled, watching him fall from grace. Something that maybe the average kid might not have done. As a black person, we aren't given that many opportunities. So this really did feel like the end of the world for this character. In Tyler's mind, his world was ending. He wasn't going to be able to wrestle, possibly get a scholarship. His girlfriend was pregnant. I mean, it was kind of like the end of the world for him. I was able to relate to that descent more so than if this would have happened to a white teenager. Now, with that being said, even though Tyler's father was pushing him, putting a lot of pressure on him, Tyler was also making a lot of bad decisions. Later in the movie, we find out that his mother died from an overdose. So, I know he's a teenager, but like with that kind of history, it seems like the last thing that you would want to do is turn to drugs and alcohol. But we all make stupid decisions. What can I say? Tyler had a big hand in his own demise. Things really didn't have to become as bad as they did. He might have been closed out of some options before, but he literally destroys his own life, and it was sad to watch. That first half is really, really sad. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I mean, damn. Go watch the movie. There is even a scene before he kirks out where he washes his hands and he's looking at his clean hands. It's symbolic of having clean hands. He hasn't done anything yet that he can't recover from. And I think that was just a sign saying stop while you're ahead, but he doesn't. Now, the second half of the film, we see why this movie was titled Waves. One big, huge wave, one major event, it ripples. It affects everybody in Tyler's life. And we get to see how the family deals with guilt, shame, and loss. We literally see all the stages of grief in this second act. And it was slow. It was really slow. I get why the second half of this film did move kind of slow. I believe the writer probably really wanted you to feel the stages of grief, loss, and shame and guilt with these characters. But there's probably a good 20 minutes I think we could have done without. Like, for real. As I stated before, Taylor Russell, she plays Emily Williams in the film. We really didn't get too much of her in the first half. The second half is like basically following her life and how she moves on after the loss of her brother. I wish they would have developed Emily's character a little more in the first half, because me personally, I felt totally detached from her. I was not invested in her character at all. But then the whole focus of the movie is, or second half of the movie, is basically on her. It was disjointed. It was kind of weird. One thing that was kind of noteworthy, interesting about Emily's character is that we get to see how people can bond over trauma. Trauma bonds, you know, not necessarily the most healthy type of relationships, but, you know, they meet a need, you know. Emily meets a boy named Luke, and they basically forge a relationship. And he also is dealing with the soon-to-be loss of his father. And Emily is able to relate to that because of the loss of her brother. So we're all out here experiencing similar things. You know, we all experience loss, trauma, pain, and we bond over those things. And Emily is able to help Luke through the loss of his father. She can relate to that. They're on the same wave. We also get to see the mother and the father blaming each other for the loss of their son, which I think would be normal. You got to find somebody to point the finger at. She accuses him of pushing their son too hard, and he accuses her of just not being present at all. So there was enough blame to go around, but at the end of the day, it's counterproductive. It's no point in playing the blame game. What's done is done. But at the end of the day, they push forward. They start to get that love again, and the waves calm somewhat, you know, as much as they can calm after such a major loss. So overall, I do think that the film was pretty good. I would definitely watch it again. Was it a classic? I don't think so. It was alright. It was alright. I think we could have probably did a 2-part series, you know, or a whole season, you know. Yeah. The first half of the film got me invested, and I kind of divested towards the end of the film, but it was alright. So guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you saw this movie, let me know how you felt about it down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace.